Well, hello. Let me pop over to my little Instagram and say hello there. All right. We are all together. Hello, hello. All right, let's go back over to this. Super great. I'm Kathy Freeman with Kathy Freeman Art, and I'm here today to welcome you into my art studio. It's Tuesday in the studio. And what I try to do on this particular meeting and or gathering with everyone on the web is to share something that I'm actually doing in my journal. Now, if you're new here and you have no idea who this person is, I am a artist. I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I love to get myself into paints, watercolors, papers, and just really explore and have fun. I have a community that I work with called My Art Sisters, and I love meeting with those ladies and sharing with them. As a matter of fact, ladies, you're going to be listening to this. Let me gather. A couple of the things that we'll be doing coming up here in August. This little watercolor card is going to be a fun, simple card that we're going to get together and do. And then we'll take a couple of weeks and create this acrylic painting. This is the flowers in the mountain. A little rock cliff with all these little flowers popping out. I just love that image, and I think we'll have fun creating that. So that's coming up for My Art Sisters coming up here in August. We're also going to work on drawing. A lot of times it's hard or challenging. We always feel a little intimidated to sketch and to do any kind of drawings as far as figures and faces, etc. So we're going to have one of our classes focused on that. And I see we've got some joining. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and say hello in the comment. Just give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're here. All right, I'm going to get started. And since you're in my studio, I've been working on a little page here. This is in my journal that I typically work in and create different things. And I put in here my positive affirmations that really the things that I want to look at that I can, are uplifting to me. And so this becomes my, instead of writing in a journal, I do an art journal, a creative journal. Now, I need to start out. What I've done here so far is just put down some wonderful paper that's just beautiful as a background. Sometimes I will collage, sometimes we'll paint it. Let me see if I can put a little more light on that to bring that up a little bit better. I'm going to put in some gesso here and create this background before we start painting. This will give me a surface that I can paint on. And I'm going to do some cut paper also today for this particular project. Not sure. Let that dry for a few minutes. Get that done. I find that working in my journal is super. Do you ever go through those moments where you just feel like you can't breathe? And for no apparent reason. It's not like there's anything major or whatever. It's just you've got a lot on your mind. And with that, it can become a little chaotic. Okay, let's stick that in the water and let that. Now we're going to have that dry. All right, put that up so it doesn't harden on me. And while that's drying, I'm going to continue. What I did is I just started cutting, actually I painted all of these little flower images here. So I'm going to take a second and just cut those out randomly because I'm going to use some of these to create a 3D effect on this particular spread. And what I used for this is I just used acrylic paint to and watered it down. You can use your watercolors. Anything will work perfect. As an artist, you're always thinking of, you know, or not necessarily thinking, but you're looking around you and you're seeing things and you're like, oh, I'd love to create that and add that to my journal. So I encourage you to always be aware of what's around you. Okay, I don't want those. We'll save those. I want these over here because I'd already added 2 colors to them. And just to save time so that I could hopefully finish this. If you were on last week, I did finish that project off camera and I posted it on my page. You can also find it. If you missed it, you want to see the replay, you can find it for this next week. I'm keeping it in. Go to myartsisters.com. Myartsisters.com will open up our little art village. There you will find the event center. Click on the event center and you'll find the video of last week. I decided to keep that one a little bit longer on there rather than adding. I usually will change them out each week and just go ahead and send the camera right in there during this particular time. But today I chose not to. Right, let's see what else we got here. These larger ones. Gathering all those. This is something you can paint and leave and then come back and maybe while you're in a moment when you're watching TV or something or sitting with somebody, you can sit and cut out because I'm gathering myself I've got a little container here to keep them organized. Have you ever laid things down on your desk area and then you you go to pick it up and you can't find it? Exactly. All right. This is mixed media. If you're also new to this and you're wondering what our mixed media means, using all different kinds of things. I love that it doesn't limit. That's why some days I feel like using paper and cutting like I am today. Some days I just paint, like the image I just showed you of the rocky cliff with the flowers growing out of it. Some days I just feel like painting. So I love the ability, the freedom to whatever you feel like doing that day, whatever catches your interest. All right, let's get started now with this. I'm leaving this side because on this side, welcome. I see we have more. Go ahead and say hello. Just let me know where you're from. I'd love to have an idea of where you're here from today. All right, on this side of this spread, I'm going to be putting down, I've already looked up in my Creative Reminders library some words of affirmation that I wanted to use. And I've written those on tissue paper. And here when I'm finished, I'm going to go ahead and I'll glue those down. And the beautiful thing about the tissue paper is they'll just absorb right into that page. And you really can't see that it's not, it looks like you wrote them right there, which is wonderful. All right, let me make sure that I have my phone off. That's always good to have. And let's start sketching something here. Let's just sketch some branches of hollyhocks. Just get some sort of an idea. All right. You can sketch some of that out. This also, I can imagine this as, I've cut that paper, but have you ever done it where you've taken the paper and you've ripped out a little flower and you've gone a little smaller, ripped out another layer, another layer, and glued those on top of each other? We did that as a project a couple years back, and those are so cute. This would be a fun thing to do here too if you just didn't want to get out paints and you just wanted to use paper. Okay, I'm just giving myself some guidelines here, drawing these out. Hollyhocks are kind of a old-fashioned flower. I think they're beautiful. Get ourselves a little garden. And I actually want, the reason I'm doing this is I want that pencil line to show. I want to be able to see that. Otherwise, I would have just come straight in and created my little flowers. These are pretty organic, you know, just by plopping down that paint and starting right away. But I do want, the lines to show. I want to have that effect on this particular project. They start small up at the top and then they get a little bit bigger as they go down. Welcome to the new ones. Thank you for showing up today in my little art studio. I'm working on a journal page. If you were here last week, I mentioned this before, but if you're new, if you just showed up, last week I was working on the roses and I didn't finish that, ran out of time. But if you'd like to see that, then I've got it in the event center, myartsisters.com. Go to the little event center and you can find that particular class, last week's, there. Right, I need some green. Let's get out this dark chromium oxide. Let me know if you're following along. Hi, Lynn. It's good to have you here. Good morning, Mike. So I may have to watch later. Have a beautiful day. I'm sorry that it's acting up for you. That's always a little disappointing, isn't it? You know, sometimes these electronics just don't cooperate the way we want them to all the time. So it can be a little challenging. All right. Now I'm going to use the acrylic, but I'm going to water it down as if it's more like a watercolor. So I'll be adding a lot of water to it. And painting these in. And I'm going to start light first. You can come back and we'll layer and we'll there's a big blob right there. It's a nice thing about having the lines too is it's a personal taste, but I like it when the paint actually bleeds out past the lines. It just kind of free flows. I'm going to take that green and down here I've got, let's just finish off, add some green like it's the grasses and that down here. All right, that takes care of that little extra spot that I was using scrap paper, and that particular piece didn't fill the whole page, so add this little green. Clean out my brush. Let's grab some of what color is this? Let's see what they named it here. Deep celery. Yep, it looks like celery. It is quite yellow-green. We're going to hit a few spots. And if I end up covering it up too much, then I'll paint back over it. I want a thinner brush. This is my liner brush. Makes a nice little tip. Let's grab that chromium oxide green again. something about just sitting and painting where you just, all your muscles start relaxing and it just feels so wonderful. So grateful that we have that ability to do that, aren't you? Okay, well, I've got the green. I might as well add a little bit down here for some of the grass. There, that works just fine. Alrighty, now it's time to start adding into the flowers. I'm going to paint them first, and then I'll come back in and I'm going to lay down the papers over some of the areas. So let's just put the color down first. And these are really tight up here at the top. They haven't quite opened up yet. So they're just sitting there getting ready to open. So we go down the stalk. And I'm leaving the center of it. I'm just leaving it without painting it. You can come back over and paint. If you do fill it all in, you can. That one. That one I got a little cuckoo on. That's all right. It's a wonderful thing about these. We're not looking for exact precision. Just let it. I look forward to creating in these little art journals. This is I find that for many artists that are super sensitive to the emotions and that they surround them, you know, I'm talking about people and just the environment of being everything going on in the world. It's nice to have a place to come and just really catch your breath. To use your art journal as a place of expression, but a lot of relaxation. And I find that once I start painting, it's like, oh, I can breathe again when I start to get overwhelmed with, you know, there's a lot of things we have to do each day, isn't there? Isn't this fun? I hope that this encourages you to get out chores and just have some fun with it. Okay, now I'm going to dry that. Where is the dryer? Give it a little quick dry. I love that softness. All right, just needed a quick little dry. And we're ready to start adding these. I created. Let's see, needs some glue. This will give it a little bit of a 3D. Grab these. Cut out these right here. This pink that I used was actually a fluorescent fluorescent tube. I'll have to show it to you. Well, it's just a fluorescent pink. It's in a tube. It's the heavy body. And I had purchased it because it would make a wonderful, bright yellow, orange, pink. Just one of those really beautiful, bright colors. Let's do that. Let's do that. Need to cut it smaller. Cut that one even smaller too. I'm noticing that the whole feeling of it is changing. The first was very subtle. Okay, let's grab some yellow. Where's yellow on my, here we go. Fill these in. All right, for this one, Now, I'm going to put my in my mouth for a second. I need the glue. I'm going to glue these down that I have. And then I'm going to finish painting the rest. I think it's almost time to get a new. I can fill it in there. There we go. Try to remember where I picked these up at. Okay. Got some smaller sizes here. Already cut out. Let's cut this down just a little bit. Place that right here. Okay, I've got more if I want to, but that gives me enough to kind of make that 3D. I'm going to come back over here to my red. Okay. Off my brush. It's coming along. Picking up that fluorescent pink right now and dab it around on these. Okay, where else do we see? Maybe a little bit of red on this one. Mix that with some of that pink. Right, they're coming together. I'm going to add a little white. To this one. Okay, let that dry for just a second. Get that to dry and mix some of this green and this green together. Just up there like that. Perfect. All right. And that's a pretty simple page. It doesn't take too long to make. Something that's under an hour. We're always looking for, okay, where is my matte medium? Disappeared off my desk. There you go. guys. There it is. Hiding. Let's get the little statement in here, and we'll call this little page done. I love just to create something this quick, easy, not overwhelming. Let's take this. Spread this out. Lay that in there. We need just a teeny bit more on this side. Tissue just disappears. I like to do that much better than, let's go over the top here a little bit, than writing directly on the page. And there's my statement to finish off my page. Perfect. All right. Thank you very much for joining me today. This little page basically says I've found the affirmation in the creative reminders. If those that are members of My Art Sisters, you'll find it 441 and the one also right below it. I approach each day with sincerity, asking God what he wants me to contribute. I listen to his guidance and strive to make a meaningful impact in the lives of others. The Savior goes before me. And that is the positive message for the day. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being, Lynn. I'm glad you're here. And thanks for your comments. Let's see, I grew them for a few years. Oh, I bet they were gorgeous. Do you live up towards the east, up towards the northeast or something? Or I'm down in Texas. I'm not sure if hollyhocks work down here, but my grandmothers grew them and loved to see them in their gardens. So thank you so much for being here. I hope this encourages you to pull out your art journal and create something. All right, y'all, I will see you again. Phoenix is not cold. My grandmother lived in Phoenix for a while too. That gets pretty hot. How are you doing so far? It's kind of a hot time, isn't it? And hollyhocks grew there, huh? Wow, that would be interesting to hear more about. I'd love to hear that. All right, thanks so much for showing up, y'all, and have a great day. And I will see you again next week, next Tuesday, and welcome you back into my art studio. All right, see you later.